Okay, in this video, we're going to be using the percent equation, which is an equivalent form of the percent proportion in which the percent is written as a decimal. So we're just going to modify our percent proportion just a little bit to turn it into an equation. So again, we're still finding missing parts of percent problems. We're just going to use equations now to solve this rather than the proportion. So we're going to give you another option rather than the proportion. However, both of these are just as useful. So if you do like the proportion more than the equations or the equations more than the proportion, you can always use one or the other. They're both equally capable of solving percent problems, but they're just a different version of them. The upside to the equations would be they're faster than the proportion. The downside to the equations is there's 3 of them that you have to memorize as opposed to the proportion where there's just one thing you have to know, part over whole equals percent over 100. So depending on which one you prefer, again, these are both equally capable of solving percent problems. So what we do is we just modify the percent proportion ever so slightly. This ratio right here, percent over 100, we can think of that as percent divided by 100. That's present in every proportion, so you can always take the percent divided by 100 to kind of simplify that ratio into a decimal. So what it does is it just takes the percent and turns it into a decimal, or moves the decimal 2 places to the left. So we really have this part right here. So part divided by whole is going to tell me what the percent as a decimal is. So now we can use that equation to get other equations for solving percent problems. So here we have 3 equations from this one that tell us what each one is, depending on which one is missing. So if our percent is missing, we can use this equation right here. The percent equals the part divided by the whole. And the percent, again, I'm going to reiterate, in every one of these equations, the percent will be written or expressed as a decimal. So it'll be something less than 1 if it's a percent that's less than 100%. If the part is missing, we can use this equation right here where the part equals the percent times the whole. And again, the percent is written as a decimal in this equation. And then finally, if the whole is missing, we can use this equation. Whole equals part divided by percent. And again, the percent has to be expressed as a decimal in these equations. So let's take a look at 3 examples here. And again, I've got the equations up here in the corner to remind us what they are. Find 60% of 96. Well, these are very similar problems to what we've been solving, but now we're going to solve them using our equations. And the part is missing in this problem. We know the percent and we know the whole, but the part is missing. So we're going to use this equation right here. Part equals percent times whole. And so part is going to equal 0.60 times 96. Notice that the percent was written as a decimal. 60% as a decimal is 0.60. So we just have to take 96 times 0.6 and you get the part, which is 57.6. So again, very fast way to solve that problem. We just have to remember to express the percent as a decimal and then figure out which one of these equations we're going to be using. Next example, 15 is what percent of 125? Here the percent is missing. We know the part and the whole. So we're going to use the percent equation. So percent equals part divided by the whole. So we take 15, which is the part, and the 125 is the whole. So 15 divided by 125, is 0.12. Now remember, that is the percent as a decimal. So 0.12 is 12%. And that's how we write our answer, 12%. So 15 is 12% of 125. And then lastly, 18 is 30% of what number? Here the whole is missing, so we're going to use whole equals part divided by percent. And the part is 18 and the percent is 30%, which as a decimal is 0.30. So we take 18 divided by 0.30, and that gives you 60. And that's going to be the whole. So 18 is 30% of 60. So again, using these equations, or using the appropriate equation to solve these percent problems. So here's another problem we can solve using the percent equation, and a couple of different ways to do it when it comes to tax. So I want to talk about tax and percents because that's a very common occasion where we're going to run into percents. A camera costs $250. If 6% sales tax is added, what is the total cost? Now, there are two methods for solving these types of tax problems, and I'm going to show one right here. And that is to find the tax, or how much money the tax is going to be, and then add that on to the price. So here the cost of the camera is the whole amount, $250, and obviously the 6% is the percent. So the part is missing in this problem. So I'm going to use the equation part equals whole times percent. And 6% as a decimal is 0.06. So the part, or the amount of money the tax is going to be, is 250 times 0.06, which is 15, or $15. So the tax is $15. So then we just add this on to the price of the camera. 250 plus 15 is 265. So the camera will cost $265 after tax. That's one way to do it. The second method is a little bit faster, and that's just to find the total cost. Now here we have to think of the percent a little bit differently. The total cost will be 106% of the price, because it's 100% of the price plus 6% tax. So 100% plus 6% is 106%. So really we're trying to find 106% of 250. So again, 250 is the whole. Now 106 is the percent. I'm going to use the same equation, part equals whole times percent, but now my percent, 106%, is 1.06. So I take 250 times 1.06, and that gives me 265. So the camera will cost $265 after tax. I get the same answer, just in one less step. So when you're dealing with tax problems or adding tax onto something, you can kind of think of it that way as well. Either one of these methods are fine. So if you prefer one over the other, go ahead and use that. So here is a little different take on that. A $45 mixer sold for $47.70 with tax. What is the percent sales tax? So here the percent is missing. So the first thing we need to do is find the part. How much was the tax? So to find out how much the tax was, we have to find the amount of tax that was added on. So the $45 was the original cost, and then after tax it was $47.70. So if I just subtract these numbers, that's going to tell me how much tax was added on. So here I know that the amount of money that the tax was $2.70. So now I want to know, well, $2.70 is what percent of 45, the original price? So we're trying to find the percent. We know the part and we know the whole. So that's the equation I'm going to use. Percent equals part divided by whole. And the part, or the tax that was added on, was $2.70. The original price was $45. So I take 270 divided by 45 and I get 0.06. And again, that's the percent written as a decimal. So I move the decimal over 2 places or multiply by 100. And I get 6%. So the sales tax was 6%. So a couple of examples of percent problems there involving tax, finding the percent that the tax was, or finding the amount of tax or the final price after tax has been added on.